Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking Gears. In this episode, I talk to Shadowz, one of the standout Gears of War content creators with a heavy presence on Twitch and YouTube. I really enjoyed this chat. You'll see Lee open up about himself and his life as a content creator. I hope you all enjoy. Always ready. Alright, Lee, here we are.
Ready.
We're live.
I know.
I think one word I'd use is gassed.
Gassed. Always gassed.
It always gassed me. I've got my coffee. I'm ready.
I've got my...
Spend a lot of money on coffee.
Lucozade.
You got your Lucozade?
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm very ready.
I don't think we've properly spoken since I visited you at your house to interview you for my final major project a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that was 2017.
Yeah, I was going to say, what year was that? It feels like it's been a little while.
2017, right? And then I think Gears 4 had still been out for a short while at that point too.
Yeah.
So it shows how much you've really had to stretch out your content.
Yeah.
What
month was that? Was that early in the year?
I think it was March or April 2017.
Yeah, because that would have been literally just before I went crazy to Vegas, isn't it? Like that year.
Yeah, literally, mate. It was just then. It was basically about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because that was about microtransactions in gaming, and the industry at that point was literally
because the gear packs just started then, didn't they? Like,
I
think we just got
the content.
I think we were just getting the Locust content, the Locust characters, weren't we? You know, the drone and the Grenadier.
They made
the first juicy pack. Well, after the UIR craziness, but it's been long, man. It's crazy to think about, right?
No, exactly, mate. And it was really its controversial peak, like microtransactions in general at that point.
Yeah.
So you're in your early 20s.
Yeah.
You're now a full-time content creator. Is that right?
Yeah, I've been full-time since the Gears 4 beta. So
wow, I didn't know that, because you worked in a chip shop as a means to an end for
years.
Some time to get by for years.
Yeah. Because I did like my work experience at the chip shop in last year's school, and that was like 2011. And then I worked from there from 2011 for like 5 years. And like it was crazy timing as well, because like the original owner who had it for like, his dad owned it, so it'd been in the family for like 20, 30 years or whatever. He sold it to someone else, and the new guy that took over didn't really handle it too well. And at the time, I think this was around March, almost April. It was literally, I think, the same week that I got the email. I think you went to the event as well, right? You know, that I met you. I think that was the first time when we went to that Gears 4
beta tour.
Yeah, the beta tour event in March. So yeah, it was at the same time as that I got the email earlier in March that I found out I was going to get made redundant in like June.
It's awful.
So I was like, it is what it is, but like, because I was ready to move on for a while, but I just didn't want to take that step, but it kind of like forced me to. So luckily it kind of fell into place, and when we knew that the multiplayer public beta after playing it at the end of March was coming out in April, I just told the guy, this week in April, I think it was like April 11th, like, you're gonna make me redundant in like 2 months. I'm gonna do it my own way. I'm gonna leave now. Bye bye. So yeah, I just dropped it. I dropped the chip shop, and luckily just been able to do YouTube and Twitch. Twitch recently, full time ever since, man. Like, it's been high and it's been lows and it's a bit bumpy, but I wouldn't change it for the world, man. Like,
I saw you tweet that the one thing that got you into content creation was Gears Judgment. Was it the Game Informer cover?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
So like, and Cole.
I never thought about me doing YouTube or any of this game and stuff. Like, I remember the first time I ever came across YouTube was literally as Gears 1 released. So this was like 2006. And the reason I was on there was to look out how to do the Kung Fu backflip tutorials to get out of the map. Because at the time, I didn't have Gears 1, but my best mate who introduced it to me at the time, it was on his brother's Xbox, and his brother was away till Christmas. So we would play it like split screen multiplayer every single day, and we were just trying to do all the glitches. Like, you got the one where you run up like the block on Subway and you get onto like the rocky bit. You had it was Tyro Station, where you just sort of like rode your run across the barrier on the actual platform, and then you'd get on top, and then you'd have to like walk around the corridors and all the pillars. And so I discovered YouTube quite early on, and then from now I just kind of jumped on YouTube every now and then, and it got really heavy around, I would say, going into when the Gears 3 beta got announced. And that's when I was like a YouTube kid, like with no account, like not even signed in, never made an account, just searching up, the Gears YouTubers. So you had like Bar at the time, Iceman, Landon, the Razor's Edge. I think Yummy Mash did a bit. You had a guy called Skillzy, and there was a few other people. And I used to literally watch all of their channels like every day just by searching in, watching their latest video. And then, at a time, like you said, 2012. I think it was 2012. Game Informer did like a magazine about Gears Judgment with like huge coverage, lots of information about, you know, Cole and Baird being the main characters, and you got new locus enemies and when it took place in the universe. And at that time, like, I was still watching all those Gears guys, but I was watching people like Ali A for Call of Duty and Nadeshot and T Martin, and I was, you know, always like, I was super like frustrated as a viewer because like nobody from the Gears community was doing like the informative videos that like Ali and T Martin were doing for Call of Duty, even though this massive like Game Informer, right. So this like massive Game Informer magazine dropped, nobody did it, and I just thought to myself, like, that is content I'm looking for right now, like I want to watch, and nobody's doing it, like I might as well do it myself.
Judgment at the time was quite a surprise to the community.
Yeah.
Well, most Gears fans as a whole. I remember being on the forums, and after Gears 3, you know, people were like, "There's nothing till Gears 4" for a while. And
yeah. Well, we didn't even know. You know, we didn't even know if there was a Gears 4 afterwards. You know.
Well, exactly. We knew nothing. All of a sudden, this spin-off title where they were obviously going to take all these risks was released.
Yeah.
And it was had some mixed. It was received.
Up and down,
quite a polarising title, wasn't it? Yeah, they were up and down. It was a very well balanced game, though, I thought.
Yeah, it's
really
crazy for me because
for
like
the flack it got.
This whole YouTube thing, like Judgment was like, at the time I think I had maybe like 2,000, 3,000 subscribers or something, and you know, I can't even remember what videos we're getting back then, and it was crazy for me because, you know, Judgment was sort of like, I wouldn't even say now to this day like it was my first Gears game as like a YouTuber or whatever you want to call it, an influencer content career at the time, because I had no idea what I was doing. But for me, because I was so focused on trying to learn the content, that I didn't really see the negative side of the game, or like, you know, how the game was being impacted by the player base like dwindling so fast. So I was smashing the game. I think I hit like re-up 12, like highest max rank in like I think a month and a half. That was like 13 re-ups.
That's a lot of hours.
And yeah, I think it was like 5 weeks in, you know, we was #1 in the leaderboards on the world for domination with a bunch of my friends. Even my dad was like smashing the game with me, and and the game just dropped dead, and we was just like, I can't believe it. And then, you know, I made a video all those years ago, and it was called like Why I Stopped Playing Gears of War, and I think it got like 500 views. But as time has gone on, and you know, now we are where we are in 2019 with multiple Gears games in the past, present, and the future, and like I think like 50,000 people have watched that video now, and you know, people are watching it for like, oh, you stopped playing Gears now, or you know, last year or whatever. So yeah, Judgment was crazy, man.
One thing that impressed me the most, and I do think it's unmatched, is your tenacity, this drive you have to you know, not stop no matter what. What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated and driven?
I would say, you know, it's just my sort of like background, and I don't know, just the way I grew up. Like back in the day, I talked about, you know, I worked at a chip shop, so I like experienced working a job that, you know, I didn't mind, but you know, I wasn't having like a massive interest in, you know, serving, you know, would you like salt and vinegar on your chips and your cod and your sausage and all that. But even before then, like, because my dad's been a self-employed cleaner all his life, so he does like window cleaning, he cleans pubs and all that stuff, so I've been helping him for like years. Because when I was a kid, the only way I could get any money, there was no pocket money, there was no chores, nothing like that, it was to physically go work with my dad and do cleaning. First I started off with like little window cleaning jobs, and then, you know, I started helping him every day to do the pub, and like that was my only way to get money and to get like the Gears games, just to get the game, just to play it. So like I feel like that whole like living like that, and also just, you know, being in that element, you kind of get used to that like work ethic, you know. And so I feel like it's just taking it from doing that, not wanting to do it like for me, and you know, getting into this whole YouTube thing and just applying it to that. I don't know, it's a madness, man. It's a madness.
You told me that you could only get an Xbox game between your birthdays and Christmas, but your birthday is in December. Anyway.
Yeah, it was super frustrating as a kid.
That's brutal, isn't it?
But yeah, you know, the whole like mentality when it comes to YouTube for me personally, and like what drives me really is like, it's just, I have such a pure passion for Gears, you know, like,
yeah.
If you look at my channel, like right? I loved Gears even before I started this whole YouTube and gaming thing. Like I played Gears from the moment it released. Like I said, like I was like about 11, 12 years old, and that's never stopped. I think like the biggest break I've ever had of Gears was during that Judgment phase we just spoke about, and I think I took like 4 months off after that I released that video. But yeah, ever since, like, even since before, like, I was just non-stop Gears. I'd go to school, I'd play Gears before, wake up early to play Gears before I go to school, screw my homework, Gears all day, eat some food, Gears all night, go to sleep at crazy time. Mum used to hate me for it, you know. She used to start doing some crazy things to try and knock me. The craziest thing about it was like she used to flick the internet off. So like back in the day on the 360, you get that disconnected from Xbox Live, like notification flashing, and I just knew that it was going to be a matter of a second before my door opened, and then my mum's there, and I'm thinking, shit. But yeah, times have changed since then, man. But yeah, it's like I said, like I've just had a pure passion for Gears and like for content. I just, you know, I see it as sort of like an art style, sort of like a, I don't know, like a craftsmanship. Like, I just enjoy Gears, but I enjoy like creating content for Gears even more. And that's why, you know, you've only seen me really like super sort of like focus and specialize on Gears, because I've just got so much passion for it. Like, I don't get bored of it. You know, it doesn't frustrate me. Like, it doesn't annoy me. Like, I just see every video I make like as a sort of like an objective, like a mission that I want to do. I get that video done, or you know, even for the live streams. And once like that's done, like I'm already like looking on to like, all right, what else can I do? So like, you know, even at this point with Gears 4, it's obviously been out for like, you know, we're in the third year life cycle. And content has been hard, you know. Content is easy when the game is new, or there's, you know, content updates and news and information consistently. Because, you know, you can create, you know, multiple discussion or information or guide tutorial videos from one specific thing. So like now that Gears 4 has been out for so long and the content is pretty much done with, like it was literally just, I think it was what announced last week, content support for Gears 4 apart from
the chapter on Gears 4,
apart from like the earnable characters that are transferred to Gears 5, like the game is pretty much done. But I just, you know, I just always just try to think, you know, because like I said, you do the easy stuff when it's like super hot, and then when it's quiet, you just got to think outside the box. You got to think about, okay, you know, I've done this and done this. Like, what haven't I done? And, you know, just trying to think of like ideas and, you know, things that you would be interested in first. Because, you know, if you're interested in it and you enjoy creating that content, you know, most likely the fan base or the community that you've built up is going to be interested in it as well. It's just, you know, it's like a mind game, man. You know, you sit inside for like, if you want to take it serious as well, YouTube and Twitch and that, like you sit inside for like, you know, I'm in here 7 days a week, man. I don't get no social life. I don't see no friends.
That's what I would struggle with, because you're quite vocal about how you're feeling personally.
Yeah,
and sometimes
I just keep it real, man. Like I've always,
I see you've tweeted on numerous occasions when things aren't going great.
Yeah,
and you will feel like going up, and especially when you're struggling with content. Like, I mean, a few weeks ago you said, you know, it seems like nothing Gears 5 news related to
there's been a few times, like even throughout the last years, you know, where I've tweeted out like I'm struggling right now.
Yeah.
You know,
you said waking up some mornings wondering if this is all worth it. So there's obviously times where it's really difficult, right? Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like, you know, I always, from what I've personally been able to experience so far at this sort of stage, because, you know, I still say I'm nowhere nowhere near where I want to be, or nowhere near as massive as, you know, people make me out to be. Like, we're still a little speck in there in the pond, man. It's good to have that mindset, though.
Yeah, I thought, and you know, the way that I look at it is, you know, I look at, you know, I subscribe, you know, I still watch, you know, a few other YouTubers, and I always just, you know, if they've got 10 million subs, like, you know, you compare that to me, like, I'm, you know, I'm just a Gears guy, man. That's all it is. What was the question again? I literally completely forgot, man. That's the best thing about these podcasts, you know, we just gone on a crazy
life
run.
As a content creator, it can be tough.
Yeah,
like, Is it? Obviously, you got to balance the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
When do you struggle the most? Is it always, because I've seen you've been on like a brilliant run, and then out of nowhere you'll tweet, "Oh, waking up today and I don't know if this is worth it." Like, it must be sometimes, you know, that's what I find difficult myself. Like when I sit behind a computer.
Yeah, because you've made a few videos, I've seen them.
Yeah, if I do it for 2 or 3 days in a row, I feel like I have to get out and see my friends, or I get a bit down, and I look at some people who like you guys who do it all the time, and I've got massive respect for you, because I personally find it's so difficult to, you know, mentally to keep doing that. So it must be, I respect it must be tough, because I watch a lot of influencers. Have you heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
No.
People like, they're advocates for hard work, but doing it because you love it, right? There's no point chasing money your entire life, or you're going to be extremely unhappy. And happiness is life. You've got to love putting those hours in and have the passion for the work you do. And it's imperative that you enjoy the process of it, right? You enjoy the lows, you enjoy the highs, because, you know, you're someone who clearly loves what they're doing, and you're going to have your wins and your losses, but that's part of the process, right? Yeah, for sure, man. It's all about a balance, you know. It's, you know, people underestimate
you know, like, I don't say YouTubing that is the hardest job in the world, but mentally it is one of the most infuriating jobs out there, just because of this, like, the social disconnect, man. Because, like, to make a quality YouTube video from scratch to finished product, you know, a 4 or 5 minute video can be 4 or 5 hours work, depending on, you know, how much, you know, quality you put into the video, whether, you know, you're writing up a script, and if you're looking for specific clips from different games, or needing to grab, you know, artwork or images or whatever from the from internet, so you'd have to find a specific Twitters or websites or whatever. So it's a lot of time and it's a lot of grind, man. Like, you know, the end product you see on YouTube can never reflects how much time and effort it could take to make that video. And it's crazy, man. Like, I feel like with YouTube and Twitch, it is all about, you know, you have to be doing it for the right reasons, as you said, man. Like, money is not happiness, man. Like, if you're getting into this gaming thing, especially now for money, like, it's not gonna work out, because I said, because of the social, like, sort of, like, you know, you're soloing yourself out from the world. Like, you have sometimes, you know, especially nowadays, like, as we said, like, when you're not busy and there's not as much, you know, content and news and stuff to make videos on, you're in your head 24/7. So, like, if you're busy, you know, your head, you know, you're in your head, but, you know, you're using it. But, like, if you're sitting here and, you know, there's not much to do, and you've got to really think super hard, like, spend 4 or 5 hours thinking just to get content together, you can be in your head 24/7, man. And that's where a lot of, like, the lows come. But, you know, it's just, I think it's all about the right reasons of, you know, doing it. Like, for me, you know, like, I would love to, you know, be able to pursue this as a full-time job, a career. You know, I think, like, the gaming industry is what I want to be in, and, you know, this whole YouTube thing is sort of like my way in. But at the same time, like, even right now, I've said to, you know, my audience, or, you know, I always keep it real. Like, I said to people, like, even if this ended right now after we finish this call, you know, they just announced YouTube is done, or, you know, Gears is, like, scrapped and it's finished for good. Because I think with, you know, I feel like without Gears, you know, I wouldn't know what to do. I don't think I would even be doing YouTube. I would find it, you know, very hard. But yeah, even if this was all done today, like, I've appreciated and I'm grateful for the experiences, you know, that I've been able to do already. And even doing it for a couple of years, you know, like, as a kid growing up in school, like, I had friends, because I never went abroad. I never went on any of the school trips, school holidays. Like, you know, money was tight. I learned from an early age, like, when I started working with Dad, like, you know, I knew that if I got a school letter, like, I ripped it up and I didn't even bring it home. So I just knew I couldn't, you know, present that to my mum and dad. So, like, in school, like,
Shot is a fine example.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. We'll get onto it, man, because he's one of my inspirations, isn't it?
Pro gamer content creation, and then frequently finding himself in a slump. He's talked about this in his vlogs, to building one of the biggest esports teams in the industry within the space of a year. Like, what he's achieved is confounding. Like, he would literally be in this. I remember watching some of his vlogs like 2 years ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I just lay on the sofa all day sometimes,
yeah,
and just do nothing, and I'm depressed." And then suddenly he's just had this kick of energy, and he's just driven himself to success. Yeah. I think he's very inspirational. I find myself watching all these inspirational videos at times, reading books to try to help me push myself that extra mile that I found so difficult to do for most of my life. But doing all of that without action is a futile approach, right? Because I find that just writing down what you need to do helps so much. Like, I sit there, right? I write down.
I've got like a whiteboard, innit? I literally put my daily schedule on it every morning.
And what I need to do today, what makes me unhappy, what I need to change. And I think the idea that seems to help a lot of people is, like, imagine you are the hero of your own movie, your own story, right? What would you do to ensure that you respect yourself more, and that you can look back on your day with a sense of satisfaction and achievement after every day that passes? Like, how do you approach each day? Do you go to the gym? Do you?
Oh, for me,
content creation.
My daily, like, schedule is, I've probably said already. I'll probably repeat myself a billion times, but, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
that's the whole, you know, mentality when you do this YouTube thing, man. You know.
Yes, of course.
This is like, you know, aside from, like, my missus, like, the last week, you know, the second person I was speaking to is how my family, in it. So, like,
of course.
But yeah, for this whole, like, YouTube thing or gaming thing, like, my daily schedule right now is, I usually wake up. I hate sleeping in, man. I hate sleeping in, so I have to wake up 6, 7 a.m. I got an alarm clock. I got multiple alarms. Dude, I hate sleeping
in. Like do you wake up angry if it's like 11 a.m.?
I get pissed at myself because, like, for me, this whole content thing, you know, it requires so much time that, you know, you have to be on a schedule. So, like, I want to make sure. Yeah, 6, 7 a.m.
Brilliant. Wow.
Yeah,
that's great.
Even when I was in St. Louis, like, you know, I think the time zone, like, jet lag was probably having an effect. But like, I was waking up at like 5 a.m. over there, like, snap every time, every morning.
Ready for the day.
Yeah, I was ready to go.
I love it.
But so if I get up early, which I usually do, like I say 99% of the time, I get breakfast in, I go to the gym every morning, and I get back.
Real stimulate your mind when you go to the gym as well.
Yeah, really I love it,
for
man.
creativity, like, going to the gym or going for a walk or doing something.
Oh, in the morning especially,
it's really important. Yeah, it
helps so much.
Really good to start to your day because apparently your most productive hours are in the morning because you have no distractions.
For me, I feel like my most productive hours are at night. I'm more of like a night out person. But yeah, doing like the gym in the morning definitely helps. Like, you know, it puts you in the mood to do want to do something.
Sense of satisfaction, right? Like you've had a good start. You know.
Yeah, because like, I've always struggled to put like fat on. So like putting on muscle is even harder. So like, but even going to the gym, like I still go to the gym regularly. Not for like physical attributes, but
as well.
It's mental, isn't it? So like, you know, gym for me is like a mental boost in the morning, which really, really does help out for content. And plus you get, you know, I'm still getting out, you know, even if I have a few friends I might bump into in the gym, like I got my gym trainer there or whatever. But even just getting that, you know, small, like 2 hours out of every day just to get out of the house and go like into a public space where there's, you know, public people doing the same thing as you. It's nice, it's good for you, yeah. But yeah, when I get back from the gym, it's straight into the YouTube grind, man. Usually, sometimes I'm sometimes I'm fresh, sometimes I'm on it, sometimes I'm lazy, sometimes, but I still always try to make sure.
You could be not on it, and then all of a sudden the tweet's gone out. They've released a load of info, and you've got a very reactionary. You've got to be on the ball at any moment. Yeah.
But yeah, I usually try to make sure I get at least one video done each day. Usually,
that's incredible.
For later in that day, like, you know, while we're speaking right now, I had my video rendering. It's uploading for like tonight. But yeah, I always try to make sure at least one YouTube video every day. Like, I've been, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I've been taking it easy for a couple of, like, I'll say the last 18 months because GearsFeed has been quiet, but I've still made sure to, you know, if I'm not doing daily, I'm still doing, you know, one video every 2 days, but I'm streaming both days.
Yeah, streaming's important because obviously you've got to build your platform, haven't you? Because like, let's say today YouTube went down, you'd have Twitch to go to, or you'd have Twitter. You have to have your communities in many places. You can't rely. Yeah,
that's what I've learned recently as well. Because you know, you could probably testify to it as well. Like when we met, like it was pretty much just over 3 years ago. You know, looking at the day right now, like I think it was March 31st, so like literally a couple of days ago. 3 years ago for the GearsFeed beta tour, like
because we all get invited out to that, didn't we? That
So like within that,
it was an experience.
Yeah, it was crazy, right? Big old, I think my first game, which was you know, me, the Razor's Edge, was recorded for that Xbox UK YouTube channel when we played with Rod Ferguson, isn't it? I was just like,
man, those journalists were terrible, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
God,
they got back-aid. I didn't know how to back-aid it. They just got shotguns.
Seamless, but no, that was a really enjoyable event.
Yeah.
Now, last year you had a tough year. You had some chargebacks.
Oh man,
from PayPal, is it via Twitch?
Yeah,
right?
On Twitch.
Can you tell us a bit about that? Because that must have been an incredibly stressful, exhausting
man, you don't even know. Life. Honestly, like, dude, like, I have never, you know, emotionally and just in general felt like so terrible, man. So like, what happened was, you know, Twitch live streaming has been something that I've recently got a lot more heavily into just because of not only like the financial side of it for as a job, like it's actually the way that I'm, you know, able to still keep doing YouTube Gears content and, you know, adding the Twitch in there full time. Cause Twitch live streams recently have been crazy for me, but that was, what was it? Over a year ago now. I was just getting into Twitch streaming more regularly. I think 2017 is when I started to pick up like the full-time sort of like mindset. Because with Twitch streams, I did it every once. You know, Gears 4 is going to be so different to Gears 5. But for Gears 4, like, you know, I did it a couple times. I did it for the beta, and then I did it a couple times when the game drops, and then I tried competitive, and then I just kind of like quit streaming and focused on YouTube. But yeah, when it got to Twitch streaming last year, what happened was I had a regular viewer. His name was Tony Forever 21, or his username. And he'd been like a regular viewer for like at least I think half a year to a year. You know, donated multiple times. You know, $5, $10. And chargebacks, for people that don't know, are basically when someone donates on Twitch to streamers or whatever. Just need a quick drink. Hold up.
It's all good.
I've been speaking for mad long. Crazy.
You're like a Duracell bunny, mate.
Yeah, I just keep going, man. I got AA batteries in the back.
Yeah, you have them out. Batteries I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, go on. So he
he was donating regularly. He'd been in the stream for a while. He's a Twitch subscriber, all that good stuff. So I didn't expect anything off it, but yeah. So chargebacks are when these people kind of like donate to streamers, and then they, for some reason, claim it as unauthorized. Now, chargebacks may, actually be, sometimes official and real. Let's say, a young kid has grabbed their mum, dad's credit card, whatever card, and used it, without consent, and that's obviously a successful chargeback. But when there's people that literally donate to streamers and then falsely like claim it as unauthorized, it actually like kind of screws the streamer over, because you lose that money, and then you get charged like I think it's like $20 minimum for like the smallest transaction per transaction of of donations that the guy charges.
They charge
back.
You for
They charge you get charged.
For the mistake that someone else has made.
So like if someone donated $5,
winding me up.
No, so so if you got charged $5 and then it was claimed as an unauthorized payment as a chargeback, you get that $5 taken from you, and then you get also charged an additional $20 on top of that as a chargeback fee. So for me, I've never heard of it before, man.
So only if they've taken your money from you, they've charged you for that.
That's PayPal. It's crazy. But yeah,
so what happened?
The situation that happened with me was this guy, Tony Forever 21. He started doing like these challenges in stream, and he was like, the first challenge, if you're successful, like I'm gonna donate 1,000. I was like, what? Like what? So I had no idea, at the time.
Weird.
But yeah, it was just because he was such a consistent viewer.
Yeah, you built that trust with him.
Yeah. That's what it's kind of like, online viewers, you don't really necessarily see them as friends, but you see, you see them as like these
something you recognise
online. Yeah.
It's familiarity, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I didn't expect anything. So the challenges were like, there was like 7 in total. I did 5 out of 7, and each challenge, the amount he donated got bigger, and it went up to a total of 10 grand. So yeah, $10,000 in donations over like I think 2 weeks. And so, for me personally, I had never seen that much money in my life, man. That is literally insanity.
So all of a sudden you've come into about $10,000.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Which was mad. So, it's about, I think it's about £8,000 in the UK.
Yeah.
And still, like, when I was working at the chip shop, I might have earned like 4 or 5 grand for like the year when I was doing part time. So like,
suddenly in one night you've had this influx of cash.
So it was crazy. So like, that happened, and then he was in the stream a little bit less, and then after like a week, he went quiet for 2 weeks, never came back in the stream, and I never really thought of it because it was just such a crazy moment. And then what happened was I woke up one morning, and he had claimed all 5 of the challenges, the donations that he had sent that I won as unauthorized payments. And so what that did, because I was a little bit smart, I kept half in PayPal, I took half out. What I actually do for YouTube and Twitch is I give 10% of my YouTube to my mum and 10% of Twitch to my dad every month, just to, give them a little bit extra money. So like the better I do on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, like the more, they can put on the electric or gas or pay rent or whatever. So, I gave them like, quite a bit of money, 10%, I gave them $1,000, about £700, £800. So like, when he hit me with these chargebacks, it took like the other half, like the $5,000 out of the PayPal, and put it in like minus, and it was like minus $8 grand. And then I got hit with all the like the chargeback fees, and they put it to like minus £12,000.
God.
Which was to wake up to like 8 a.m. after like some craziness on, like feeling like, YouTube and Twitch was like, because at that time, this time last year, I actually picked up a couple of weeks at a different chip shop just to get a little bit of extra money on the side. And it was these big donations that, I was like, I need to, I was only doing the chip shop for a little while then. I had to quit, leave that behind, tell the guy, my mate, I'm done, I don't need to help out anymore, I'm good, like, cheers for the, the few weeks or whatever. So yeah, when that happened, man, like, dude, like, it's like, working a regular job, 12 months, you get your annually, salary or whatever it is for 12 months, you don't get paid until the last day. Your boss walks in the first thing in the morning, and he's like, I don't feel like you've done a good job this year. I'm not going to pay you for this year, right? And you're just going to, it is what it is. Cheers.
Yeah.
That's how it kind of felt. within a small moment.
Did you get it? Did you manage to sort it all out?
So yeah, I had to go through like a crazy appeal process with PayPal, and then it got like accelerated to like the top board of the PayPal, because it was such a crazy sort of like situation.
Life,
it is, man, because like, you know, if because like, you know, my PayPal was still at minus 12 grand, so like, you know, I was like, so I withdrew a little bit. I withdrew two grand out of, you know, the other donation money that I withdrew to my bank originally to put it to 10, and it just sucked it up, and then it went down minus 10. I was like, you know, if I put anything else in, I'm not going to be able to live, so I can't. So I had to leave it at minus, and then PayPal started calling me, texting me, actually started sending me letters to my house saying that, you know, if I don't pay back this amount of money, like, they're going to take me to court and all this crazy stuff. And this is literally all happening just because this guy donated his money and then, you know, decided to, because what he actually did was he walked to his bank in person and then told his bank that those 5 things were unauthorized, and he didn't do those. So that his bank like contacted PayPal and just retracted it instantly. So crazy thing was, like, this was about, I think,
what way to toy with your life, though? Like,
dude,
why would you do that to someone?
Because like, it could have, you know, I could have taken out everything, you know, gave it all to my mum and dad, and it could have even been worse. But
yeah, well,
I honestly, I did a video on it, and it was called
yeah, I think I remember watching it.
I can't remember what the title was, but, you know, it was no thumbnail, it's just my face, and I spoke for like 16 minutes. I think the video got like 20,000 views, which is insane. I think it was like when life hits you hard or something like that. And in that video, I actually spoke about, you know, that was like, that's been my worst moment in life ever, man. And I just, you know, I never condone that chargeback situation on anyone, man. That is by far.
Did you hear from him again, this bloke? Or
no. That was it, done. You know, I was only talking to PayPal. But yeah, I spoke in that video about a guardian angel coming into my...
Well, I mean,
of course, but it gets even crazier, right? So like, in that video, in that vlog, I spoke about a guardian angel. So like, when that happened, 4 weeks later, I got contacted by a guy in Germany, and, you know, I said to him that I'd never reveal it, like, who he is, you know, personally. So I just used the name Jeff in the video. His name actually isn't Jeff, but this guy was like, you know, had a crazy story, but he had basically, at the end of the day, been in hospital bedridden for the entire year of 2017. And he said the only thing that kept him, he says, alive, you know, keeping his mind, because he lost his speech, he couldn't walk. He had to basically, you know, learn human functions after some tragic, crazy stuff that happened in his life. So he was in a hospital bed for 12 months. And, you know, he didn't feel like living until he started, you know, he came across my YouTube and Twitch, and he said the only thing that he could do was literally watch YouTube and Twitch all day, every day. You know, he wakes up and that's all he could do. So he watched my YouTube and Twitch, every stream, every video I uploaded throughout 2017. And when he heard about this whole situation, he hit me up and he was like, I'm getting discharged from hospital in 48 hours. As soon as I'm out, the first thing I'm doing is walking to my bank and I'm giving you the money that you lost, that this Tony guy took back from you.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, yeah, honestly, man.
You know, you had that impact on someone as well, right?
Yeah, it's, dude, I still speak to the guys to this day, like, you know, I still say to him, man.
What a hero, man.
Like, that is absolutely insane, man.
Yeah, altruism.
It's a crazy story, and then so like at that point I was, you know, back up to where I was. So like, you know, even after, because the case was still ongoing, so like even if I've lost the case, because it went on for 5 months, and like I had to wait until July 17th to find out what was going to happen, if I was going to get any of the money back, all the money, no money, whatever. So yeah, at that point, luckily I was in a position where you know, even if I lose this case, I'm in the same position. So like, I haven't, you know, I've lost stuff, but, you know, I'm in the same position.
Yeah.
And then luckily the case came through. I won 3 out of 5. And then 2 weeks later, they actually emailed me back and they reverted another one. And they said, you actually win that one as well. So like, you know,
Brilliant.
I was, by July of last year, well, from March, you know, at the lowest moment in my life ever. Honestly, like, you know, you see streamers like big stream, you know, like, I'm not a big streamer, content creator, nothing like that. You know, I was just a gear streamer with like maybe 50 to 100 viewers, and having something like that happen to me is just, you know, like,
well, hopefully me, you and the boys
insane.
will be in Amsterdam this July. It'll be a completely different story.
But yeah, like, luckily, you know, when we were speaking about YouTube and Twitch full time earlier, like, that story and what happened to my life last year, like, you know,
it helps you grow as a person.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh, it did, man. Like, you know, I was trying to say earlier, like,
sort of guy you want to buy a pint or 15.
Oh man, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, like, from, you know, 2016 to now, like this 3 year like span of Gears 4's like life cycle, me as a person, I went from 21 to 24, like, but, you know, I've grown so much, man. And I was, you know, I was going to say earlier, like, you know, that's why I'm always grateful for this YouTube stuff, because I was saying earlier, like, in school, I dreamt of going to America, man. So, like, the fact that I've been a few times now, you know, Vegas and California, and then I just
I've
literally
never been
had
to America.
It's crazy, man. Neither did I. Like, I've never been abroad, but, like...
Yeah.
So, like, you know, stuff like that is fairy tale, man. But yeah, luckily, like, all that stuff that happened last year, that was literally the defining moment for, like, why I've still been able to do, like, YouTube and Twitch full time. Because, like, you know, I'm sensible, man. Like, even with, you know, when things was going really well, like, during the launch of Gears 4, like, we almost hit, like, 4 million views in a month. I think it was, like, 3.6 million in October of 2016. So, like, even when it was really good at the beginning of Gears 4, like, I've never changed my lifestyle, man. Like, I still, you know, live the same way I did before. I got into this like whole YouTube and Twitch thing. Like, I give myself a food budget. I don't eat takeaways at home. I don't go out to restaurants at home. I cook every day. Like, I cook, like, you know, cheat meals every day. Cause like, you know, I feel like, you know, that's sort of like, you know, keeping to the ground from like, you know, all of this stuff, like crazy stuff happening, man. I don't know. Like, this whole YouTube and Twitch is just madness.
Yeah. It's insane. But so let's move on to Gears 5. It is upon us this year. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to talk about, is there, at the moment? The Coalition are evidently taking a different approach on the marketing side of things this time round. As we saw Rod mention a month back, that they essentially want to avoid prolonging the hype train. You know, don't want to exceed expectations. What do you make of all that?
Yeah, so like, you know, Gears 4 was, you know, crazy. It was stretched out for like 7 months. And yeah, Rod Ferguson said in an interview,
really stretched out.
I think it was like the Xbox Mexico, like that XO18 event they did last like November. He said in an interview like they wanted to like do sort of like the reverse compared to Gears 4, so like keep the marketing sort of like together. And that's kind of like why, you know, we haven't been hearing about anything. But I feel like that's sort of like a dodge like answer anyway. Because if you look at it, Gears of War today is so different compared to where Gears of War was like, you know, 3 years ago as we was in Gears 4. And then, you know, even a couple of years before that, when back in 2014, January 27th, when they made the announcement of, you know, Microsoft acquiring the Gears of War IP, we didn't know what was coming. But yeah, so like Gears today compared to back then is totally different. And there's a lot of more stuff happening than just a single Gears 4 and then, you know, single Gears 5. Like now we've got Gears Pop, Gears Tactics, we've got you know, the Coalition of Microsoft started to expand again into the sort of like transmedia. You know, we've had a comic book series, we've got a new comic book series coming, we've got new novels. There's still a Gears of War movie in the works. Who knows what's going on with that?
Entire universe, isn't it, right?
Yeah, it feels like, you know, there's so much happening for Gears that it's not all about the sole main game anymore. So like that's just like I feel like the main reason why Gears 5, you know, they are keeping the marketing together, but they don't even need to, they're not even ready to start hitting Gears 5 because they've still got this other Gears stuff happening before it.
You were talking to me about the concept art piece in the
retrospective book,
that's going to release prior to E3.
Yeah. I think it's after E3. Yeah,
after E3.
In July.
And you think that's very indicative of the fact that we're not going to see anything until
E3. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so
like
the
first piece of concept art for Gears 5, isn't it? Or something to do with that.
So in the description of the retrospective book, it literally says like, you know, looking over the whole Gears franchise from beginning till now, and then, you know, it's also including a sneak peek at the first ever Gears 5 concept art. So, you know, that's kind of telling us, so that's kind of like where you know, beginning of July is maybe the marketing is going to really start kicking off. But obviously we've got E3 the month before that, so, you know, we obviously expect with Xbox and E3, well, in 2019 in general this year, like Gears 5 is Xbox's, you know, it's Gears 5's time this year for Xbox, especially for like the E3 show. So we're obviously going to see Gears 5 there. But like I was just saying with the timeline, we are currently recording this 2nd of April, just April. We're already into April 2019. We had the beta. And
compared to last time, we were pretty much playing the beta.
Yeah, like we already like, a lot, right? We already played the beta, as we said earlier, in London, like a week before this time 3 years ago.
Had, didn't we?
But yeah, with the timeline of events right now, if you look at it, we're in April. We still need the global release of Gears Pop. The Gears of War Hivebusters comic is, you know, the dates keep changing, but that is, you know, a 5 comic issue series that will be set out between whenever now till before E3 to happen. So, you know, you've got that stuff to happen before any sort of like, there's even, you know, the Coalition's looking at starting to announce Gears 5 stuff. So we've got, what, 2 months to go till E3. So, you know, that kind of shows clearly that, you know, we're not getting Gears 5 till E3.
What do you think of the fact that they omitted the of War? Because it's Gears of War as a franchise now, isn't it?
It's hard,
just
man,
Gears
because
5.
like,
I like it. I think it's not. I think it's
I
a nice
personally
change,
enjoy
we all
it.
know it as Gears.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I always say to people, you know, like,
it's never GAL, is it? It's always Gears.
It used to be like, I think GAL 1 and GAL 2, and then after GAL 2 it stopped. You know, the acronym stopped because of God of War as well, obviously.
Yeah, of course, God of War, but it's just cleaner. I think it's simple.
Yeah, it's much cleaner. YouTube and that hasn't got used to it. So like, if you title your video Gears 5, you know, not as many people will engage with it if you title it Gears of War 5.
Oh, really?
Which is, yeah. I've been trying to. Because like the Gears pop, you know, because I called it Gears of War pop first. It's all about the knowledge of the game.
It's all about the tips, mate.
Yeah, it's all about the knowledge. But yeah, because with Gears Pop, I did it as Gears of War Pop first, and then I've changed it to Gears Pop, and then the video starts to do better. So yeah, it's weird, man.
You're going to see my YouTube title after this: Gears of War 5 interview. This SASxSh4DOWZ like of War, like
talking about beta E3 release.
Yeah. Okay, I thought because I've been omitting the of War in my titles anyway, just putting it as it is, you know, Gears 5. But I think even on YouTube gaming, so if you select a title, it still says Gears of War 5.
Yeah. I think it's always going to. Like, I think people are always going to call the games like Gears of War 6, and you know, after that we don't know. But
well, when Gears 4 was originally announced in its first trailer, it did just say Gears 4.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody was like,
War omitted, but
Gears
they
of War
do
4.
It back then.
Like, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what are your predictions for E3? I mean, it's interesting how Sony and EA have dropped out. I mean, this looks like to be the light of the fact that we're fast approaching the next generation of gaming.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But like, we're literally like either. Do you
think it'll be console or just cloud based? Because I think all the games are still going to work on, you know, this. Like, if you buy Gears 5 now, I still think it's going to work on the next generations.
Yeah.
Or whatever it will be. It'll be just an improved format, and obviously you know, better frame rate, visuals. But what do you think we're going to see from the Coalition at E3?
So yeah, like I said, you know, Xbox 2019.
Do you think we're going to see a beta?
Nah.
Do you think we could get a beta this time around? Because
yeah, for sure.
100%. Because we've heard nothing. Compared to last time, we all think, oh, there's no chance we're going to see anything.
No.
And now they could literally just walk out on stage. This is the campaign, short teaser for that. This is the multiplayer. This is the Horde. Whatever else they're going to reveal, and then just be like, oh, by the way, you can download it tonight.
Yeah. So I still feel like I feel like that's still too fast for how they want to approach it. So like.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, like, we're getting no Gears 5, I feel like, definite until E3. Like, we got the Boston event later this month, you know, there might, and I say, there might be a small teaser of, you know, of Gears 5, or either, like, to look forward to E3 for the future of Gears. You know, I don't see, like, any major thing at this Boston event. But yeah, for E3, I see, this is, like, you know, I have no idea what they're doing, but this is my personal opinion, or, like, this is what I predict. I feel like, you know, it's going to be story driven, you know, they're going to have a story based demo, and then they're going to sort of like tease with like little snippets of like multiplayer, horde mode, and what I feel like I've speculated in the video, that picture Phil Spencer tweeted out is like, you know, a new game mode, maybe a successor to Overrun. I feel like that's how like the Gears of War segment's going to go. So we're going to get, you know, Gears 5 story demo as we usually do. If it's 4-player co-op this time, maybe, you know, showing that, but obviously, you know, showing off some crazy stuff. I love watching the trailers. And like I said, man, like, I am Gears fan number one. Like, I love Gears, man. Like, I literally just got some Gears of War 1 trainers off eBay. They were like the limited edition ones from like 2006 for like the promotional thing.
Yeah, nice.
Like, I'm a Gears fan, man. So like, when I watch the trailers and like do the reactions like that, it's just, you know, genuine gas me.
Genuine
like
how you feel,
you can even watch the vlogs, man, or you know, the Twitch live streams. Like I love Gears, man. I get that excited. You know, the only thing that I change is I try not to swear in it, like in normal life, you know.
Swearing having a
swearing every now and then. But you know, that's mainly because like when I've gone to the Gears LAN events, especially the American ones, I've met some young kids, man. I thought, hell no, never swearing again. Like no, not, you know, try not to, but you know, it kind of feels normal. If I don't know, like. When I sit down to record the content and that, like, you know, I sit down and I'm like, right, it's, you know, it's business time. It's, you know, it's time to be professional and that. But yeah, when, you know, outside of the content, it's just, you know, a little bit more chilled. We're talking about for E3, yeah.
Do you think we're gonna? I mean, I know you're a big advocate for battle royale.
I knew he was going to say. I'm ready.
Sort of you're really praying for it, or a new game type. Because, I mean, do you think Gears 5 needs some sort of new groundbreaking game mode to keep the franchise fresh? Do we need it? Like, how would it work? Do we need something new? That
100%. So, like, I would say this, that like I said, I do still feel like that image, that screenshot from Phil Spencer is a new game mode. Gears of War 4, like, well, every Gears game since Gears 1, obviously being the original, like, there was a new game mode introduced. Gears 2 introduced Horde. Gears 3 introduced Beast Mode, and Judgment did Overrun. Gears 4 didn't introduce anything; it just did what Gears 3 did. So, like, I feel like Gears 5, people are
the game to take risks, isn't it?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
people expecting, a Gear, like, see how Gears 4 was like a Gears 3. People were expecting a Gears 5 like the Gears 4, and it's not. It's going to be the completely other. Like, Gears 4 was to show that the Cursion could, not physically, but like, let's say, like, verbally, like, replicate Gears 3 in a more modern era, which I would say Gears 4 was in 2016, being 5 years after the release of Gears 3. But Gears 5 is going to be like, okay, so what can the Coalition, like, what is the Coalition's actual, like, new fresh take on Gears? That's what Gears 5 is going to be.
Okay.
And so they have to show off. They have to, like, basically showboat, right? So they have to show off, like, what can they do. And, like, campaign and multiplayer horde mode, I feel like those three staples are always going to be in Gears. But having, a new mode for, each game, I feel like, adds a little bit more of, like, unique essence to that game. Whether or not that game mode is Battle Royale, see, this is how, I've been a massive advocate of Battle Royale. What, for Gears?
But how could it work? How do you think, because I'm not a game developer, I don't know how the Coalition could possibly create something that could be a suitable.
I've heard anything is possible in game development, man. If you've got the right team and the right.
How could it work for you? Like, if you had to predict how that, if they said on in June, right, we're doing battle royale, how do you think it could work? Like
So before we get into the actual, like, how the game mode plays, I will say this: Gears 5 is not going to have battle royale. At most we're going to have like a free for all. But yeah,
free for all, I think we'll definitely get it because No Zero's had polls up. Do you prefer a wingman or free for all? And
I think Dano's had 5,000 hours of me having a conversation with him every LAN event I go to about free for all. So
we need it. I want to be able to jump into Gears War on my own because I don't play with many people. It's just
it's a content.
Fun, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like the sweaty matches, the 5 stacks. Like it's just it just makes sense to offer.
Too serious.
Like it's. But free for all could be a social or a serious game mode because it's all individual versus everyone. But free for all is like perfect for content. But like when it comes to battle royale, before we get into actually like how the game mode would play, I would say that example of Fortnite and Apex, and then on the other side you got Black Ops 4 with Blackout. For a Gears battle royale to work, it would have to start as a standalone, free to download and play, separate from Gears 5. So that's why I say, Gears 5 isn't going to have battle royale, but I would never rule it out in the future after that. But for it to work, it would have to be a separate, its own thing. Gears battle royale, free to download play. You've got the whole Gears universe to use for that. Yeah. Do
you think we need something to help grow the online community?
For sure, because what's crazy is like all these people are like without giving depth or providing substance to why their opinion is Gears doesn't need battle royale. Gears doesn't need battle royale, but battle royale needs Gears. The biggest problem Gears of War has had since the original is that it's such a hard skill based game that the team versus team game modes literally force it to be the hardest gaming experience to learn out there. Because if you're in a team, and you're playing a team which is just dominating you, you are never having a chance to learn.
I try and get my friends into it, and they just get wrecked, and they're like, I don't want to play this.
If you look at Battle Royale, look at Fortnite, whatever games, there are people that literally live to die in those games. Like they live with the sense of, if I play now and I can't get a kill, but if I get a little bit better and I start getting 1 or 2 kills before I die, like there are literally millions of people that live for that, that experience. And if if you look at Gears and how hard the game is, if it was put into a battle royale game mode, the game would still be hard, but like the access to playing, like learning the game would be easier.
Yeah, a lot more people would be driven to learn it, and then they could go and experience it in the other game modes.
You're not getting spawn killed by, 5 guys, rifling you, knowing how to play the game. You're picking up a couple of kills and then dying and then jumping. Yeah, for sure. And I feel like people really overlook that, man. So like, but for like the way that I would see a battle royale game mode playing, we're not talking 100 players. I don't think we're talking vehicles. We're looking at like Gears 2 Wingman just super expanded. So like,
yes,
you could
mad
really
to think they've done it 10 years ago.
Yeah, like, Gears 2 Wingman was the original battle royale.
Well, yeah, it's in its smallest form. It is the concept of it, isn't it?
And the only difference is the way that you die. So like in modern battle royale, you're at the game, but in those games, back in that day, you was out of the round. So it's very similar. So like,
I remember thinking it was like the Hunger Games at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
I should make a game like this, and then here we are.
So I could imagine like a Gears battle royale game mode just being an expansion of that. If you really want to go in depth, like I'm gonna do a video about this because everybody should be doing a video about this, and like everybody should be doing like wishlist content for Gears 5.
Visceral fear of change, isn't it?
But my quick summarize is, if you want to have a map that works in Gears, you pick the Hollow. You have multiplayer maps added to the Hollow, similar to how Call of Duty handled Blackout with multiplayer maps that way.
Yeah, familiarity.
But like you add the multiplayer maps, so like you visualize the Locust Hollow in the Gears 2 campaign. So that's like the main like base of the map, and then you apply all of like the multiplayer maps in a couple of multiplayer maps. Like sort of like aesthetically into the Hollow, kind of like how all of the cities and that was sort of like breaking into the Hollow, in the Gears 2 campaign. And that would fit in perfectly with Gears 5, but like I said, it needs to be separate. But like you could have the Hollow as a map with like start off with a couple maps. You could take it in so many ways, man. Like you could have, like Gears of War has such a range of weapons. Like there's unlimited weapons, there's unlimited characters. You could have
pickups in play.
You could have the Locust, playing into the game. So like, you could have NPC Ram walking about, or a couple of corpses appear on the map, or whatever. Being in the Hollow, the Storm would make sense to be the Krill. We've seen how the Krill animations have worked in, Ultimate Edition and Gears 3's Bullet March, where you just get ripped to pieces and then, you'd die. But like you could take it in a crazy way, man. Like, but this is a project that would take 4 to 5 years to do, so that's why it would have to be its own separate thing. But I feel like Gears,
they've got so much to focus on as it is. I can't see. I feel like Gears out of the bag.
Exactly, but it could always be like Splash Damage could finish working on tactics and then move on to this while Coalition moves from Gears 5 to 6. But I feel like Gears just offers such a unique gameplay experience that it would just be so different from everything else. Because I feel like the battle royale genre right now is, saturated in a lot of games want to do it. But the only games that are being as successful are the games that are taking the battle royale concept of, win to live to win or die, and then adding like an extra layer on top of that. And so Gears, the gameplay in Gears would be that extra layer on top of, the survival battle royale game mode. But yeah, you could take it crazily, man. Like, you could have the battle royale map as a live service, kind of like Fortnite, and we could have the map change and different special like live events happen depending on what we've like already experienced throughout all of the Gears of War's like timeline, so you've got the Hammer of Dawn strikes, you've got the flooding of Jacinto, you've got the the Lambent infestation. You could have all of these like storylines that we've already played through like the previous games, like applying to the as you're playing on the base map, like it's sort of like we're playing through those experiences again, but like live in its own little thing.
But I think we need some sort of exponential growth spurt because we've always felt quite small compared to the others.
Yeah.
Gears is tremendously revered for its story, and there's a huge fan base for Gears, but we need people to stay, right? We want years of content, a beating heart for the next few years. So I think it's important that there's something that keeps people coming back more so than just the standard trip, the format of Horde, multiplayer.
Yeah. I feel like, Gears 4 did like a really good job, but because, during, I'd say, like, the first 2 years of development for Gears 4, like, they were heavily working on Gears Ultimate Edition, pretty much half and half of Splash Damage. So, like, they were handling, like, 2 betas, 2 campaigns, 2 multiplayers, 2 marketing campaigns, like, for, like, most of Gears 4's development cycle. And then, Gears of War 4 was, like, the first Gears game on Unreal Engine 4 as well. So, like, everything had to be made from the ground up, you know. It wasn't like, you know, creating it from nothing, but, you know, using, you know, all of the assets from what were on Unreal Engine 3 and using them as sort of like, you know, a template, right? And then building everything up again on Gears 4, which is, you know, why we never got the Locust characters or the Locust Horde in Horde mode. It was only the Swarm. So, like, you know, Gears 4 was heavily affected, I feel like, during development time with, you know, how much time the Coalition had to get the game out in time for October 2016. Because I've always felt like if, you know, if the Coalition were sort of like individual, like Epic were, they would have probably released the game like late 2017, you know, taken like an extra year to work more on the game. So, like, for Gears 5, you know, these last 3 years since Gears 4 drops, they've had, like, 90% of the company on Gears 5, and then, like, the live service team working on all of the content for, like, post-release. So, like, Gears 5 should just be, you know, it should be it, man. It should be the game, I feel like, maybe that could define the Gears series.
Yeah, it's a massive. Yeah, exactly. It's
but like that you know, that massive series, like expectation is like a massive crunch on the Coalition.
Well, that's what I mean.
You know, like
they've got so much expectation, but from all angles. Like, people expect the best campaign, the best multiplayer, the best horde. Yeah. They've got so much expectation. There's so much weight on their shoulders. And talking about the campaign, what do you think about the synopsis for Gears 5? Do you have any predictions for how the campaign will pan out? Will we get a callous antagonist this time round? Because the Swarm was still in its primitive stages during Gears 4. Do you think they've identified a leader at this point, or is the network still going to be focused on Kate?
It's interesting, man, because, like, you know, we've only had the E3 trailer so far, and then there's like a few little tidbits in the Gears 4 campaign which are sort of like foreshadowing what's happening in Gears 5. So it's still quite early to tell, but, like, I love that whole speculation and discussion stuff, man. Like, I love engaging in, you know, the idea of the unknown, but, you know, we know a little bit and for enough to, you know, sit down and have a conversation, and discussion about it.
I mean, open world aspects.
Yeah. Well. So, like, it's crazy, man. Like, I am literally a Gears of War nerd. I will research and look up everything, man. It just comes with, it just comes with, you know, it comes naturally, but it just comes with the job. And so Rod Ferguson said, like, that great skiff, like the wind boat, is going to be used to travel the Red Desert, the frozen lakes of tundra, and there's another place. I think there's a third place as well. But there will be, like, I think there's going to be, like, open world elements. Like, you think the tank mission from Gears 2, but, you know, blow it up 10 times.
Multiple ways to approach.
So yeah, I could see, like, NPCs and, you know, swarm enemies walking around in that area. Like, I think what it's going to be is like,
I'd love to be able to talk to a character.
I think that's what it's going to be.
Get some lore.
I think it's going to be like, you know, those areas, like, when you're playing the standard, you know, Gears campaign that we expect. That when you have to, like, you know, let's say, you know, travel to a different destination, you get this open world element that you can spend as much time in there as possible. Like, that's what it sounds like. Because he literally said in an interview, or I think it was on Inside Xbox, like, the Great Skiff is used to, like, travel the world, like, they're opening up the world. But yeah, like,
because I'd like to be able to play the campaign, like, multiple times over, but with different approaches. Right? Still the same, like, bottleneck effect, but different ways to approach the scenario.
And, like, they could do some crazy side stuff with collectibles, and, you know, like, really, you know, blow up the lore, and, you know,
I think it'd be brilliant. What are your thoughts on maps for Gears 5? Is there anything you'd like to see return?
No.
What are your thoughts on map remakes? You know, the season pass.
I don't know if you saw recently, but with that Gilded Ram announcement, they said in that post that when it comes to Gears 5, like, they are focused solely on original and new content from the moment, like, the word go. So, like,
I hope so.
I think, you know, Dano Noctis are very good at keeping it hush, but, you know, on the developer live stream, sometimes they say, you know, sentences in a specific way, which, you know, you can take and sort of, like, idolize an idea. Because, like, I think they said recently, like, they talked about, you know, they love Blood Drive and they love Gridlock, but, you know, they've had enough of the old stuff. Like, they wanna play some new stuff. Like, that's what they said when someone asked them, like, you know, about, like, you know, what maps would you like to see in Gears 5 or whatever. So I feel like, you know, at most, this is the time for the Coalition to fully take over. You know, Gears 4 was a a
Yeah,
great
'cause they want their
introduction.
own identity, don't they? They want their own stamp
Yeah,
on
for
it,
sure.
right?
And I
Enough of
feel
the
like,
epic,
that's what they
it's
need to
more
do. And
about
that's
this
why,
new
Gears
era.
5 is just going to be, so different with like new modes and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the moment to take over. Like, Gears 4 was your moment to, take the reins from Epic, and then you have to,
This
prove
is a
that
Gears
you can do
title.
it.
We can do this.
Yeah.
This is
So like now,
familiarity,
it's
but we've
like
shown you we
letting
can
go
achieve
of the
that.
Epic Games reigns and just going solo and doing it themselves, So like Gears
flying
5,
from the nest,
I don't
right?
see any remakes. And, if there are remakes of Gears 4 maps that the Coalition creates, so Foundation, Dawn, like the original maps, I see, I see like, if there's going to be remakes, maybe like, 2 or 3 max from like the fan most requested Gears 4 original maps. But in terms of, anything that Epic Games made, I feel like Gears 4 is like the end road for that.
Because when I put a tweet out, I asked people what maps they'd like to see return in Gears 4, and most of the responses all were focused on what Gears 2 had produced map wise.
Yeah.
And most people wanted to see maps from Gears 2. Obviously, it's the game in the series that clearly had the best maps. People seem to say that as a fact.
Yeah.
And what people were vehemently against the idea of Gridlock returning for sure, because we've seen it in every game, and I think. But
no
again,
more,
I didn't see hardly any requests for Gears 4 maps to return.
Yeah.
It was mostly focused on Gears 2.
But
Mansion,
it would have been Gears
River,
2 maps that didn't appear
those
in
maps
Gears
were
4,
brilliant.
right?
But we don't know how they work with the character movement speed of the modern Gears games, because that was a mess up there, wasn't it? Where they had the character movement speed of the campaign was fast, but the multiplayer was slow, and they got it in the wrong way round.
Yeah.
Sensitivity in Gears 5. What are your thoughts on the current argument, as we start to finish up here, especially within the competitive scene, that Gears should revert to its former restricted options of low, medium, high? Do you think that would be a step backwards?
That's
Because some people really want to see that.
Yeah, nah.
They feel like it'd be easier to view the game from a viewership standpoint.
I've heard people talking about reverting it to 20, which
yeah, or 20.
I wouldn't mind.
Which we saw in the Gears 3 beta.
Yeah, and
I think that could work.
Gears 2, right?
Yep.
But yeah, like I think the low, medium, high of Gears 1, like that was part of part of the game back in the day. But I don't know.
2020, could you see it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it depends. It depends. Like I'm not the developer, right? So like for me, for sensitivity, I've just played the games and just sensitivity's gone up. My sensitivity's gone up. Like I just adapt to the current game and just play it as normal as you normally do. Never really questioning like the sensitivity getting too high. Even though the sensitivity's at 30s in Gears 4, like the sensitivity in Gears 3 was just absolutely out of this world. Even though it was the same value. So like I think it's just totally up to whatever like the Coalition like feels like
right.
is right. Yeah, because like they like Node Zero, people get meme him all the time about you miss, and he actually like takes it and he loves it. Like Node Zero is one of the most passionate Gears people I have ever spoken to in my life. I've met Rod Ferguson a couple times. Rod Ferguson loves Gears, but yeah, Node Zero, man, like he is literally he is such a huge diehard Gears fan. That it's like I like imbrued his because when I met him for the first time in San Diego, we had like a 3-hour talk about weapon tuning and ranking system, and I was just giving all my feedback, trying to get anything about Gears 5, but nothing, man. I don't crack. But yeah, he was just so madly passionate about Gears, man. So a lot of people underestimate, like, dude, like there's people at the studio that are literally diehard Gears fans that couldn't be more happier to be working on this game, man. So I feel like with sensitivity, I feel like Gears 4 they learned a lot, which they had, like Gears 4 had to happen no matter what, like where like the experience of Gears 4.
You don't want to run before you can walk, can you? And
there was a few things with the microtransactions in the season pass, not being clear on that, and bits and bobs.
That was a lot of content, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like
a month, how the hell were you going to achieve that?
But like like Gears 4 had to happen no matter what. Like if Gears 4 didn't happen, Gears 5 would have been the Gears 4. So like Gears 4 had to happen first. Now they've put a game out there. They've experienced of developing a game, supporting it for 3 years on its life cycle as a live service, and they're taking all of that knowledge, they're taking all of that experience. Because like, I think people forget as well, is like Coalition Studio, Gears of War 4 was a brand new team that out of maybe like 5 to 10 people who moved over from Epic, who had never made a brand new Gears game from the ground up. delivered Gears 4. Like, that was the product that we got from a whole new, like, you know, imagine getting a new studio that had never working on Gears and Epic Games in one room, walking out of Epic Games and going, right, this is what the new team's got, just done with Gears, isn't it? So, like, you know, is negative or, you know, as bad as some of the, or maybe quite a lot of things that Gears 4 did. The game overall, like, especially from a gameplay point of view, I feel like the gameplay in Gears 4, if you take the tuning out the question and just look at the pure essence, like the core foundations of the gameplay, Gears 4's gameplay is the best in the franchise, like, multiplayer-wise, 100%.
Lastly here, what do the Coalition need to do for content creators in Gears 5? What do we need to see in terms of content, unlocks to work towards, and we need incentives to play, don't we? What do you want to see from the Coalition in terms of content?
In terms of content, you know, Gears 4 did very well, but I feel like, you know, it could have been stretched out a little bit more in terms of, like, you know, it was like the first 2 years, it was like two packs a week, and then, you know, within this last year, it's kind of like, you know, dwindled down for us. It's super hard. So, like, I feel like it just needs to be a bit more consistent with, like, but it's all about the game itself, man. Like, you know, with characters in Gears 4, you know, we had the gear pack system, which people enjoyed and then they didn't enjoy. And then, you know, people could get characters from 1 pack or 1,000 packs, and it was craziness. So it's all about how they handle Gears 5 with characters, unlockables and stuff like that. But, you know, in terms of, like, working with content creators for the Coalition, like, you know, we've got the upcoming Coalition Army. They've got a bunch of partners announced on there, and members, which, you know, people are starting up as, you know, like, anybody can, like, become a partner, but it's not like an overnight thing, you know, like, even for me, like, you know, I still say we're not big, but, like, we've been doing this for a while, man. Like, you know, we've been full-time for, you know, 3 years, and then it was 2 years before that. I remember 2015, like, when Ultimate Edition was dropping, and, you know, we had the Gears 4 first announcement. Like, that year was just, you know, I think 2015 for some reason has been the only year that I've been able to upload daily. Like, I wasn't live streaming at the time, so that's maybe a huge impact, because Twitch live streaming, like, you know, you sit there for 6 to 8 hours, like 6 to 8 hours out of your day. But yeah, 2015 was like, I didn't miss a single day from January 1st to December 31st of 2015. I had a lot of content. Luckily, you know, that was sort of like the year that I discovered myself in terms of, like, what I enjoyed doing, making, and what content that I wanted to do. So, you know, I covered a lot of stuff in that year. I did, like, the whole throwback Easter egg series, because, you know, I wasn't a YouTube channel when the Easter eggs were, you know, found in the old games. Yeah, 2015.
Do you think we're going to see a beta or not?
Yeah, so, you know, I feel like every Gears and every Halo is going to have a beta or beta no matter what. I think, you know, as we said, like, the marketing for Gears 5 is totally quieter and different compared to Gears 4, so if we were to get a Gears 5 beta, depending on the timeline that we got right now with, you know, predicting Gears 5 next to E3, you know, we got that retrospective booking early July, which might kick off the main Gears 5 marketing. So, you know, you'd probably have a month of that in all of July, and then, you know, I could probably see a beta in August. Like, betas have changed over the years so much. Like, they're more of like not a beta to test the game. Well, you know, it's still getting feedback gathered and testing things in the game, but not to actually
like a preview, really, aren't they? Like,
more of like a publishing, marketing sort of stunt. So, yeah, I feel like we get a Gears 5 beta in August, and then, you know, I'm calling the game dropping like
September, October.
Oh man, I think it should be November, man.
You reckon November, right in the thick of it? You reckon?
Early November.
Big statement. Take balls. But I reckon I could do it.
So we had what? We had Gears 3 in September.
Why not release it in November? Because, like, if you're thinking, right, this is our flagship title.
You know, Call of Duty's changed over the years as well, man. Yeah, like, Call of Duty isn't what it used to be.
Release games alongside. I mean, Call of Duty released in October for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever last year.
Yeah.
And obviously, Red Dead Redemption 2 had a massive impact on everyone's release windows, but I think why not release it in November or
well, you had Gears 3 in September.
This is the game to be afraid of. Like, this is the Xbox's flagship title.
Yeah.
This is
I feel like Gears 5 is it's going to become a swinger, man. But yeah, you know, that's, you know, I didn't even think about it now, but Gears 3 came out in September. Gears 4 came out in October. Gears 5 come out in November.
Yeah, well, Gears 3 was originally due in spring,
April,
wasn't it? Yeah. But they delayed that in November of 2010. But then we got the beta anyway, which obviously helped that game tremendously.
Oh yeah,
obviously the changes to trenches, which happened through the beta, sensitivity, all that. It was a massive beta. That was how you would know a beta. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
thank you for your time, mate. This has been brilliant.
I could talk all day, man. That
I know
was
you
good.
could. I know. It's
There's so much to talk about, but
there is so much to talk about. We'll do it. Well, if you're happy to do another one, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think as we get closer to content in as the window goes on, we've got May. So yeah, definitely do another one. Maybe in a month.
I just want to quickly say, man, like I want to give a shout out to you for recording this stuff, because honestly, I've watched Pete's episode, I watched Chap's episode, I'm watching Rother's episode. I enjoy it, man. And I feel like this is something that people could watch in the morning, could watch in the gym.
Like when you come home from work,
like, just doing your daily thing.
It's a nice little chat.
I would definitely be down for even if you wanted to do an after E3 special or whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking we'll do a pre E3 and an after E3.
I'll do a pre and after E3.
I want to get everyone in a big blooming room for after E3.
Yeah, it get crazy because Gears is passion and we all love it. So, but you just get it structured.
I might bring a mic if we ever go somewhere, like Raw or whoever else. Just put a mic on a table and just
yeah.
Really cool.
Oh, in real life.
Yeah. I'm thinking.
I'm ready.
Bring a mic.
I'm ready.
My laptop. Like if we do like an Amsterdam trip or something, I'll just bring my microphone or a couple of them with me, a laptop.
Yeah.
Go to a cafe, put it down, and just see what happens. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for your time, mate.
That's all good, man.